Right, before we start today's video, I want to ask you a massive favour, and don't worry, it will not cost you a penny, I promise you. If you agree with what I say in this video, then do me a favour, hit the subscribe button and also hit the thumbs up and share it with your friends. I promise you it will not cost you a penny. Don't do it right now, wait till the end of the video or throughout the video and you might think, wow, this guy is speaking some sense. I'm going to hit the subscribe button, because what that will do is push it out to YouTube and share it with other people and maybe educate them as well. Now, this is going to be the quickest intro ever because we're going to get straight down to the video. So, without further ado, my friends, let's go. Right, before I get into apologising for being wrong about electric cars all along and getting it totally wrong, I need to just say one thing to you. Freedom of speech is important, and freedom is important. People have lost their lives for freedom and freedom of speech, and that's one thing that we cannot lose. And if we lose freedom of speech, then we lose our voices. Now, I just need to unplug my car. Come on, get out. There we go. Right, well, I have to apologise because I said electric cars weren't the future, and they are the future. Of course they are. And you can use wind power, like today when it's really windy. Clean energy, my friends. You can charge at the convenience of your own home while you're asleep in bed. No more filling up at petrol stations, etc. It is the way to go. These things are friendly, they're better for the environment. I was wrong all along. Everything I said was wrong about electric cars. And what I said about electric cars not having the range, etc. Well, most people don't travel that far from their home. The average journey, I think, is only something like 20 miles a day. So you come back, you plug it in. It's easy, plug it in while you're asleep and it's charging. It is the way to go. And the batteries, etc., which I said are really expensive, well, they'll never have to be replaced. And okay, so the children are mining for the lithium, etc., in the batteries, but it's keeping them in a job and feeding them. And it's not about control. I mean, I said it's all about control. Of course it's not. The governments are there to help you. They're on your side, and everything they say is truthful. They're there to help you with your future. Of course electric cars are the future. And the infrastructure, all them videos that I made from John O'Groats to Land's End with Jeff Buys Cars, where I found it really difficult to charge up because there was queues of cars there. All them people on them videos, they were paid actors. I paid them all just to pretend to charge their cars and make it look really busy. Of course it was just a lie. And me saying that people like Morag, who I've spoke about on the channel before, are paid shills and paid by the government to push the EV agenda even further. Of course that's all rubbish. She's just a lady that loves her electric car and spends hours on end pushing the EV agenda because she believes it. Do you know what? I can't carry this charade on anymore. Of course none of that's, I don't mean any of that. Electric cars are not the future, and I'm telling you that from my opinion, and I'm just giving you my opinion. They may be the future. Who knows? Nobody knows the future. We haven't got a time machine. But what I am doing, I'm telling you my experience that I've had with my electric car. And my electric car has been an absolute nightmare to run on a day-to-day basis. And I'm telling you that. But very soon, I won't be able to tell you that because we will be stopped. Now, if you look at the media at the moment, there has been a lot of negative news stories about electric cars. In the Sun newspaper, for instance, I've been in it numerous times. I can't let you know, I can't tell you how many times I've been in the Sun newspaper. As of late, if you look, there is less and less negative stories about electric cars in the media. And I can tell you why, because I worked for the media for many years. I worked as a graphic designer in the advertising department, and that's where I get all my titles from and the thumbnail designs, etc. But I worked with many journalists across the years that I worked for the newspaper industry. I worked for the Daily Mail, the Daily Mirror Group, the Daily Mail Group. I worked for Northcliffe, and a lot of those people that I worked with were journalists. One of them was editor. One of my mates was an editor. But then there was also other journalists. I even dated a couple of journalists many years ago. I've stayed in touch with a few of the journalists from the newspapers over the last few years. One of them I keep in touch with regularly, and I spoke to her the other day actually, and I said to her, I was talking to her about this, and she said, well, it's quite interesting that you said that, because the media has been told now and informed that they are not to tell any negative stories about electric cars. They've got to push the EV agenda, otherwise there'll be backlash, and that's come from higher up. You can work out who it is. And interestingly enough, I found a news story here, and if it is windy I do apologise, but hey, it's all good for the wind turbines to power those electric cars, isn't it? That are good for the environment. It says, electric cars, Lords urge action on misinformation in press, which is interesting, because I found this after I spoke to my friend. Now, she doesn't want to be known because she still works for the newspaper industry and wants to keep her job. So it says, I'll read you a few lines of this. The government must do more to counter misinformation on electric vehicles published in parts of the UK press, a Lord's inquiry has said. I can hear an ice cream van. I think I need a 99. I've been interrupted there. Where am I going? I hope it's a diesel engine, although they've been told to turn them off. Anyway, we digress. Despite the UK passing the milestone on Monday of 1 million electric cars registered, growth of the sector has flatlined. The Lords Climate Change Committee urged the government to build consumer confidence and push back against what is called mistruths on range and cost. Now, it says the government did not comment on this, but said 2 billion was committed to EVs. I'll put the link to this news story in the description down below. But basically, it's like I've been telling you time and time again that electric cars, in my opinion, are not the future. And I've been showing you the downfalls and the pitfalls of owning an electric car. And I'm just telling you my experiences. However, if this bill goes through and the government do silence people like they have silenced the press, who is next? Is it social media? Is it going to be social media platforms like this one I'm on now? Are we going to be silenced? Am I not going to be able to tell you my experiences with electric cars? I can only push the positives of electric cars, because in that way we're losing freedom of speech. And if we lose freedom of speech, we lose our voice and we lose control. And talking of control, it's quite interesting. I was watching Jeff Buys Cars, his channel, the other day, and if you haven't seen this video, head over and watch the video, because it's really interesting. Because I fly a drone for my job here for YouTube, and I've flown a drone for many years, and I've had them from the initial concept of drones. And over the years, the technology has advanced on drones. Originally, you could fly them anywhere you want to fly them. However, as they got more advanced, geofencing came into force with drones, which means you can't fly them in certain areas, you can't fly them over certain heights, etc. And it's called geofencing. So it's like on a map, you'll be zoned out of that part of the map, etc. And also certain times, they control where you fly. And on Jeff's channel, he did a story where, I can't remember what car it was, it might have been a Kia or something, but in the small print they'd added geofencing to their cars, which means they could stop you driving into certain areas at certain times and certain days. So if you go over your carbon footprint, they can stop you from driving your car. So the guy actually gave the car back. Check that video out, it's on Jeff Buys Cars channel. Really interesting. And again, I've said before, it's all about control. But people have said I am crazy. Well, I'm not. It's coming. And freedom of speech is coming to an end as well, because I can guarantee you, as sure as eggs are eggs, I will not be able to tell you the downfalls and the pitfalls of electric cars in time to come. Now, you might think that these cars are the future and they're better for the environment. However, if you look into it, apparently they're not. Even a group, an environmentalist group the other day, stormed a motor show and targeted an electric car. I'll read you a little bit of that story. It's not been majorly widespread in the news, but I'll let you know. Now, before I read you this news story about environmental protesters target Ford EV at the New York Motor Show or Auto Show, a lot of people say, well, I'm paid for these videos that I do about electric cars pushing the negative or the negative narrative, or whatever you want to call it. Yes, I get paid for these videos. However, I get paid on CPM, I think it's called, cost per mile, which is per 1,000 views. So for every 1,000 views, I get paid X amount. Now, if I do a video where I'm flying on a plane to Australia or to America, that CPM is higher than it is on the motor videos that I make, the electric car videos that I make, because it's what an advertiser pays per 1,000 clicks. But if I make a video in an airport, flying off to some nice place, etc., I actually get paid more per 1,000 views from the advertiser. Obviously Google take a percentage of that as well, a higher percentage than I make myself, but it's their platform. So the ones I do on electric cars, actually I get paid less, so I'd be better getting on a plane. So my incentive is not that at all. My incentive is I just want to share my experiences and the truth of owning an electric car from my perspective, and because I've actually got one and owned one for 2.5 years. So, and as I say, it's all in my opinion anyway. I've never said don't buy an electric car full stop, because I've said in certain videos, if you just pootle around town, go and get a tiny little electric car. I mean, a lovely little mini electric car. I mean, that'd be great, although the latest one doesn't look that great. Anyway, we digress. You know what I mean. So, you think that electric cars are better for the environment. Well, members of the climate activist group Extinction Rebellion poured what is believed to be motor oil on an F-150 Lightning, which is an electric car. Now, you would think, oh, well, maybe they've got this wrong. They thought it was a petrol car. No, it says it should come as no surprise that climate activist group Extinction Rebellion staged a protest at past weekend 2024 New York Internal Auto Show, with gas-guzzling, carbon-spewing behemoths like the 2025 Infiniti and the 2025 Genesis creating big footprints on the Javits Centre floor. There was no shortage of vehicles to enrage and engage the ER gang. However, it says, so which vehicle did they target in their signature oil pour? The all-electric Ford 150 Lightning. Surely a case of mistaken identity. The protesters, no doubt confusing the electric pickup truck with its gasoline-powered F-150 stablemate. Nope, the Lightning was indeed the rod for their scorn. No EVs on a dead planet, the grumpy band of environmentalists chanted as an ER member poured a substance believed to be motor oil on the EV and the floor around it. He was subsequently arrested. We are not protesting car lovers, we are protesting car dependents, said Extinction Rebellion activist Mark Graham. The vast majority of auto-based emissions during both production and use, remember production here is the word that we're using, are caused not by people who want to drive, but those who have no choice but to drive. Putting aside the unusual nuance of that statement, the point they were trying to make by soiling an all-electric vehicle with fossil fuel is that the transition from ICE vehicles to EVs simply replaces one polluting means of transportation with another. For example, EVs still use steel, which accounts for 11% of global CO2 emissions. Mining for minerals required for EV batteries continues to be controversial, both from environmental and social perspectives. They use children to mine for these materials. And road infrastructure is still required for all electric vehicles, something ER claims does irreparable harm to the environment. I mean, really, just get rid of all human beings, full stop, and then the world will be fine, won't it? Flowers will bloom back and clouds will go away and little bunnies will be running around in the fields, etc. Anyway, that is all from me today. I'm going to end the video here because I've spouted on long enough. But do remember, freedom is important. Freedom of speech is important. And if we lose that, we lose our voice. So hopefully I can keep bringing to you videos about my car for now, until we get across the message that electric cars maybe are not the future. And even if they are, we shouldn't be told or stopped from saying and giving our perspectives and giving our opinions on things. So, as I said at the beginning of the video, if you do agree with what I said, please just give this video a thumbs up and also hit the subscribe button. It's down there. I promise not every video will be about me banging on about electric cars. There's lots and lots of content coming your way. I'm traveling again and getting on a plane again soon as well, putting carbon emissions and making a bigger carbon footprint, but I can offset it in my wonderful electric car that just spews out fairy dust. And that's all from me today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Oh, and Morag, keep it up. Hope you're all right.